The show can't start until we crack open a bottle of Revelton. Whether it's their crisp, clean vodka, the bold spice of their rye whiskey, the rich smoothness of bourbon, or the original honey whiskey that started it all, every pour is a taste of craft and passion straight from the heart of Iowa. So pour yourself a drink, settle in, and get ready to relax, laugh, and enjoy the show.
Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Red and gold on the edge of the sky, feel the rumble, hear the battle cry. Out in Ames where the storms ignite, we don't back down, we rise and fight. Jack Trice's his name, yeah, it echoes strong. A story of honor still marches on. Through the rain, through the pain, through the fire we roar, 'cause we were built to thrive in the eye of the storm. Feel the ground shake, hear the crowd roar. Cyclone power, can't take no more. Legends rise, this is our norm. We stand tall in the eye of the storm. There's a cyclone blowing on the outskirts tonight. Jack Trice shakes when the team takes flight. Milton's rocking, hear the magic call. We rise together, we'll never fall. Feel the magic you can't deny. Marcus stars are taking off straight to the sky. Brent, big play, Kirby making history. When the moment gets tough, that's the cyclone way. Through the trenches, through the lane, through the heat, through the rain. When the storm comes blowing, we embrace the fight. 'Cause the cyclones strike when the time is right. Feel the cyclones strike when the time.
All right, welcome back to the Side of the Storm, where we talk all things Cyclones. We are live from the AKC Marketing Studio with Andrew Downs, and sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company out of Osceola, Iowa, and styled by JJ Boutique in Johnston. I'm Dave Larson, here with my Storm Team partners and Cyclone greats, Snooky's bodyguard himself. We call him Mr. Vintage, Brent Curvey, and the legend Marcus Pfizer. Who knew that would get so much play, just talking about your prior life, Brent?
That's how it happens. You know, people only know you for one day. They'll be surprised when something else happens.
Did anyone with MTV or did Snooki herself reach out to you just to say, hey, what's up?
Nah. No. I still got their numbers in my phone, though, but nah.
Well, it feels like you're holding out. It sounds like a potential for some future guests that we might have. So stay tuned for that. So we are live on Sunday. We went through the time change that we go through every fall, and many of us really look forward to having that extra hour. What did you two do with your extra hour of time? Brent, let's start with you.
Slept.
Okay.
I had to wake up to open the shop, so I was actually excited. My body woke me up early. I was like, oh, shit, hold on. Lay back down, fella. It's not time yet. But a little excited. But, yeah, I didn't do anything special. We came back a little later last night from Kansas, seeing my youngster play, and I needed that extra hour.
All right. How about you, Marcus?
No, then my body's gonna get up whatever time my body gets up, regardless. So I just got up, washed my face, brushed my teeth, getting my day started. Planning for what time we were gonna go to church. It was a little extra hour in between the time. We normally go to the 9:45 one, even though we had enough time to make it to that one. We decided to go to the 11:30 one, which is somehow, some reason, less crowded. So that's what we did.
And you probably felt like you were late going in at that time too.
Nah, I was we're sitting there ready to go at that time. It's just, having that extra hour. feels a little weird because your body feels like it's a little later than what it is. But
Yeah.
it's always good to have it.
Did any of you? So I stayed up last night. Finished watching Game 7 of the World Series that went into extra
Hmm.
innings. So that really threw my day off, and I, like you guys, I needed that extra hour.
Yeah.
So another tough one in Ames yesterday. Cyclones taking on Arizona State. First, I want to talk a little bit about perhaps the scariest moment I have ever seen on that field, that I've ever witnessed in person anyway, with Ben Bramer. It looked like in that fourth quarter, he made a play, got hit, went down, got up as he normally would, go back to the huddle, took a few steps, and just bam, collapsed. And in the stadium, it was a little bit of a challenge for us to see. They were not going through the replay. Now, after the game, I did see the video on social media. The cameras were right on him. That was a really scary moment. And I hate to speculate on anything, right? But it looked like maybe there was a seizure, maybe not. What were you guys seeing at home when that happened?
Man, that was
Well,
scary.
go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying, man, it was just scary. Like, anytime you see somebody get up and they're kind of dazed and fall over, especially the hit he took. So it just makes you wonder if it sent him in some sort of like AFib or made his heart kind of, jump or do something kind of wonky given where he was hit at. But man, that's a real scary feeling. Uh, so I'm glad he's doing better. I saw a meme where one of the guys hit him with the reboot, or my guy got his reboot card or something from Fortnite. That was hilarious. But yeah,
Yeah,
that was scary.
we can kind of laugh a little bit about it now, but you know, uh, it was pretty scary last night when Bramer was hit, and then you're right. I think it was Kale Brzezina that ended up posting something on social media. Oops, that's not it. So I apologize on that. Um, so obviously they were making light of it last night, which is a good sign. But boy, it was scary. Sitting in Jack Trice, it was as quiet as you would expect to hear in the middle of the night on a deserted island. It was eerie to be in that stadium, to hear absolutely nothing. You heard the breeze, and that was it. And it just made you sick. And, a lot of us are coming off the heels of what Damar Hamlin a couple of years ago
Yeah.
on Monday Night Football
Right,
in the Buffalo Bills game, who played for the Chiefs tonight, incidentally. But
right.
to see that take place and then to come to the situation in Jack Trice, it was scary for a lot of us. What were you seeing, Marcus, when you were watching it?
Well, the same thing. Like for being a fan and watching it from TV, not being there, you actually, like you said, it wasn't showing replays or anything like that. So you really don't know where the hit was. When the first thing my wife said, was about the kid, Damar Hamlin. And so you think about that situation. Um, you hope it's not that severe or that grave or anything like that, because if they hadn't gotten him out of there fast enough, then he wouldn't be here with us today. So
Yeah.
you always have to sit and wonder and wait for the news. You always hurry up and wait, but it never comes soon enough when that kind of injury occurs. But it's a scary situation. And Britt would know better than you and I both about how those guys collide into each other. It, it's almost like it's almost like the well, I guess it is the impacts that you're not even expecting are the worst, and that's the scary part about it. These guys are so strong, such great athletes and moving at such fast pace and smashing into each other. Like it's almost you almost hope that the protective gear works, but though the shoulder pads and stuff are getting smaller and smaller, guys are trying to get faster. All that type of stuff is going on, but it's just a scary situation. You just hope it's nothing really really severe. Head injury, spinal cord injury, heart injury, anything like that, and he can continue on.
Have either of you ever been in a stadium as a player or as a coach where you've seen something like that happen?
Um, I have. I saw Freddie Horberg go up under Jamal Crawford. and Jamal like landed like on his neck, like
Oh,
out the air and landed on his neck. And then they had to cart him off the because he wasn't moving or anything like that. They had to cart him off the basketball court, and I think that was one of the scares because he was extremely high in the air, getting loose ball or rebound or something like that. And I think Freddie was like backing up trying to box him out, and he just came down and I guess it was one of those things where he didn't hit his head or whatever, like his head bent right at the right time, but at the same time, he still bent, backwards and everything like that. But he was motionless for a long time, and he laid there, and I just remember it being like, man, is he gonna move again? Is he gonna walk again? Like, what's going on? But great to the goodness of God, he was okay.
And again, the good news is Ben Bramer was evaluated, released, so he was home last night. Again, we saw the Cale Berzina tweet, so
Mhm.
uh, apparently he just needed a little bit of a fortnight to get him back to normal. So we can sort of chuckle about it, and we're thankful. But at the end of the day, even they had to go out and play a football game. Brent, how
yeah.
do you come back and see one of your guys go down like that, scary situation? How do you continue to play in a game like that where, like Marcus had said, you guys are hitting each other hard? And there's pads popping and knees
Mhm.
twisting. How do you get back up and play a game when you see something like that happen?
Yeah, the mental pieces, it's tough, man. Now I've seen a lot more limbs broken, I guess, more so than I've seen guys kind of carted out in that way. But I mean, it's just as scary, right? Because some of those situations you get, seniors that this is their last year and they got some draft buzz, and then something happens, you can kind of feel, your heart breaks for them because they did all of this work. So, to kind of give themselves a chance, but it's tough. Situation like that where it's almost near death or something like that, where you really don't know, because it wasn't like, it wasn't a shot to the head, it was a shot to the body, right? And you can't really
Mhm.
tell what it does. So I think that would scare me a little more, just because I don't, nobody really knows what's up with them, and it's tough to rally on those. I think, like I said, for limbs, things like that, you're like, all right, we got to finish this off our brother, whatever. And that's kind of the same case too, but that'd be tough to kind of overthink, because now, oh shit, I don't want to get hit that way. You know what I mean? Because we flying around like missiles, man. Big guys moving big guys, and the game has gotten so faster now, more explosive. Smaller guys are finding those spots. It's that's the nature of the beast too. So you got to buckle up, but it's tough to be in and tough to bounce back from. But you eventually get one play in and kind of get back into the flow to get everything going.
Well, that was a challenge, and it felt like we were never really in the flow on the offensive side of the ball throughout most of the game. Ended up, you felt good going in because you learned earlier in the week that quarterback Sam Levitt was going to be out for the remainder of the season. Their stud wide receiver who didn't play against us in the Big 12 championship game, Jordan Tyson, was also going to be out. So you thought, well, okay, we've got a good chance. Their backup quarterback is a 6-year guy that started in 2020 somehow,
Damn,
and by the
crazy.
name of Jeff Sims. And I'm going to repeat that, Jeff Sims. We're not talking Phil Sims. We're not even talking Chris Sims. A guy by the name of Jeff Sims, who has played his third college now, really a modern day journeyman in college athletics, that came in and had just a crazy career day. I felt like after the BYU game, we were able to stunt the running game against BYU. We talked about this the last show, right? They did a pretty admirable job, but against Arizona State, boy, that quarterback Sims just ran right through them, 180 some odd yards, or no, 228 yards
Yeah.
rushing, two TDs, also threw for 177 and a touchdown. I mean, I'm not sure where do we go from here. From Brent, you talked about last week. It's a team loss. It's not offense. It's not defense. Where do you rate this game?
Oh, I gotta put my shades back on. Man, that shit. That's just it's when the game was on towards the end, I was like, yeah, I kind of watched it and kind of replayed it like this isn't it. So I had to kind of put some shades on because I didn't want to see any more of that shit. It was just, it didn't look like us. Especially in the bigger moments, like we've overcome deficits, and I didn't think that was one that we couldn't overcome. It was, then the score, we had the ball with under 2 minutes and we got another score to win. And I thought, this is our shot. But I kind of going back and watching that last 2 minutes, I think Rocco felt too much pressure at times. Like he was off his spot too much. And, for any quarterback, you keep getting hit and getting pressures in those big moments. And you saw what just happened to your guy. You're trying to get rid of the rock a little quicker. So it didn't look like we gave him enough time to make a good read and get the ball down the field, because everything we hit was kind of over the middle. Maybe that's all they gave us. I couldn't really see from what I was watching, but it just surprised me that Miles didn't draw something up. Because usually in these moments, there's something that happens. We create a big chunk play. And it makes me wonder if the pressure up front or the lack of protection they were giving up front kind of made him take all the short and easy stuff, kind of dig and dunk, move our way down the field. But it didn't really look like.
I don't know that Rocco deserves that much blame. I mean, yeah, he's a quarterback, so you're always going to get the blame for everything, right? But there were guys that drop passes. I saw a couple of errant throws that I wasn't sure it was because of Rocco or the receiver just ran the wrong route. And you're going to get that when you got younger guys that are newer to the system. And so I really will be curious on whether it's the coaches show or the media day on Tuesday, what the coaches talk about, what their assessment was of that game.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure could have helped make those throws kind of errant too. And even the thought of pressure, because it was one side of the line that Rocco had no shot at. So, and that's his blind side at that. So we got to get a little bit better up front. That protection needs to change. It's 2 sacks.
How about on the defensive side? It felt like we were putting some good pressure on early in that first quarter in particular against Sims in Arizona State. Anything you saw different that we were trying to do for this game?
I mean, yeah, anytime we have this 3-man box, I'm sorry, like a 6-man box, I guess I should say, because we got 3 down linemen, 3 backers. Anytime we got a 6-man box, it is man on man pretty much. It's 5 bigs and 1 free guy to possibly come up. Now, if they do any sort of washing and moving up front, now we got a mismatch, because now we just lost 2 for 1. And now, the quarterback is one-on-one with the safety and he's home free. So that them emptying the box and spreading us out, that scares me. And that's an issue anytime you got a good quarterback run game. And I think Arizona State knew that just because of the defense we play. And they took advantage of it. And they kept finding those moments when we weren't in zone coverage where everybody stayed home to help. There was times where that box was empty and it was like 5-on-4, something like that. And I was like, oh, this ain't good. Plus a quarterback on the back end. So it's 6-on-4, sorry. But it was just they took advantage of the weakness of our defense. So when we spread out, there's nobody there. Let's run the football. But you got to have a good quarterback for that. And just so happens, I mean, his legs have been on the shelf for 5 years? I mean, the last time we started. So
it's been a while.
He should be pretty fresh. You know what I'm saying? Why not? Yeah, man. The defense, I mean, it's tough to talk about him because I love Haycock and what he's done with this defense, but we got to change some things. I said the same thing last week, like pressure and not getting pressure on the quarterback, and we still need a little help. This 400 yards is too many.
Well, and it was raining on and off throughout much of the game, and I think I imagine that this was on television here too. But
oh wow!
See the video of the students that were up there in the third and fourth quarter, taking their shirts off, cheering. They actually helped out. The game was getting a little bit, you kind of get those stages of the game where the crowd gets a little quiet. It's, you're sitting in the rain, you're cold, you're wet, your team's not winning. And I tell you what, these students really brought their game to Jack Trice and really kind of got the crowd re-energized throughout the game. Marcus, is this something, were you able to capture this when you were sitting at home watching the game?
Well, the first time I saw it, it was about 4.5 guys up there. They were all the way at the top. And so the commentators were speaking on, I think Mike Golick Jr. was one of the commentators. Forget the other guy name. They were speaking on the fact of how this is something that they've been doing here recent. And he said, a few more guys will come up. I'd never imagined. I didn't see it was this many people up there. Like that's a ton of people up there shirtless. A lot of weird bodies up there shirtless. But you know, um, that's impressive because I can imagine where the weather is right now and it's raining and everything like that. Hey, hats off to them.
But Marcus, now's a good time to come back because we've seen no snow yet, so you're safe to come.
Yet,
He
yet,
slid that one right underneath there, like
right,
this. That's
right.
So
They was freaking out. They was freaking out a little bit today because they got up in what's about 85, 86 today. November
damn.
what 2nd,
I'll
and
take it.
we
That's
still in
crazy.
the 80s.
So Denny commented here from Facebook, we have to protect the middle of the field on defense. I think that's something that was problematic over the weekend on Saturday.
Yeah, it's wide open.
Yeah. It's
That's
the
what
middle
that's
of the
what the
line.
QB ran that what was it,
Yeah.
88 yards or whatever.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
single run. So,
Yeah, it's
as
the
a
middle of the
and I don't want to rip this team because I'm a Cyclone fan. I'm going to remain a Cyclone fan. I'm a Matt Campbell fan. Um,
Absolutely.
I- just like the rest of us, we're all frustrated.
Mhm.
I never envisioned. I saw a scenario where 8-4 was a good possibility. I mean, coming off of last year's 11-2 season, 8-4 was something that I thought that's pretty feasible. In fact, I think I predicted 8-9-3, but never in my mind did I ever see 4 losses in a
One in a
row.
row. Yeah.
So, hey, Brent, as a former player, you've kind of been through some, and Marcus, you went through it on the basketball side in your first couple seasons, but, as former players, what do you tell the fans that are watching this take shape? This is sort of rarefied air in today's Iowa State lore. We're not used to this. We're used to winning. We're used to bounce back wins. Yeah, we might lose a couple here and there that may be back to back, but for the most part, we've not seen 4 losses in a row like this. Brent, what do you tell us as fans moving forward? We've got 3 games left.
I mean, the reality is I can't tell you too much because I can't really say anything because I'm sure we would have been talking at some point throughout the whole year about things we're going to fix, stuff we're going to do. And to the outside fan, they're like, well, you still haven't done it, right? Losing 4 in a row. But I mean, the reality is we still got a chance to salvage the season and make it to a bowl game, get the guys go back to work and do all of that good stuff. But I mean, there's nothing we can really do. We've been here before. We've lost a lot more than 4 games in the season before. So just got to bear with us and, keep the fight, man. It's the old Cyclone way. We'll find a way. Sometimes it might take a little longer than it should, but we'll find a way. Shitty season with injuries and all of that stuff. We can't blame it all on that, but, that does play a part. I think a healthier team doesn't falter like this.
Well, and Cy Father brings it right back. You got to go back to work, resort to the fundamentals, and keep it simple. Both coaches
That's
and
it.
players, right?
That's it.
Yeah, for the most part. Like Brent said, I mean, not foreseeing injuries and things of that nature, it does play a big key. You have to plug in some different guys that you didn't necessarily expected to depend on this year. The pressure of what the season was the year before, coming out and playing extremely well, starting off this year extremely well. That's a lot of pressure on on the players when you go through this type of a slide. Brent spoke about Rocco a little bit earlier about how rushing it a little bit. I'm sure he feels the pressure because it's all on him as the main focal point, being the starting QB. He has to make something happen, and so when you when you find yourself in those types of situations, things tend to get awry. Um, Going back to the fundamentals, I don't know if we've lost too much of the fundamentals. It's just that it's like everyone want to hit their home run. We watched the World Series last night, and the guys who hit the home run were unlikely guys to hit the home runs to win it for the Dodgers. So it's that situation where you know you have to gel together as a team. It was at one point I forgot Otani was even in the game. Because the other guys were making plays and things of that nature. So um, you say we got 3 games left. Still, could salvage a lot of the season. Definitely not where we envisioned ourselves being at the beginning of the year, but just finish strong and get to a bowl game and do something good there.
All right. So, and I asked the same question last week or a variation of it, but we're now 5-4. How does the season end? We've got this weekend against TCU, and then we've got a third bye, which that's just the weirdness of this schedule this year, right? And then we come home to play Kansas. And Brent, I know you'll be at that game, as will I. Hopefully, you will, Marcus, as well. And then finish up the week later at Oklahoma State. So 3 games remaining: TCU, Kansas, and Okie State. Where, without saying maybe where those wins or losses come from, how do you envision our final record ending?
7-5.
7-5.
Yeah,
Marcus?
that's not a bad. Um, of the 3, what would you say? You're more afraid of Kansas or TCU?
TCU, just
But
because
but
it's
we'll
a
mess
slow
around.
way.
But we'll mess around and beat TCU and lose to Kansas and Okie State. It's it's
Yeah,
it's a
no,
weird
that's true.
dynamic. It's a weird
I mean,
dynamic, and the Okie State game is on the road.
yep, it's there.
Is one that I hate that
Yeah,
place. I never won
Yeah.
there, but I hate down there. It's one of those things like it's one of those games that can happen where nothing goes right. Nothing goes right. So I will hope 7-5. Um, hopefully 8-4, whatever the case may be, but we'll see.
I think watching because Kansas played Okie State this weekend, so actually seeing them both, and I mean the first half, given how not good Okie State is, they looked good the first half against Kansas. I was like, damn, are they better than what people think, or is Kansas really that bad? But I think they kind of got their load off early, right? They made all the big hits, made all the big plays first half, because the second half they just went to sleep. Like it was night and day. The energy was gone, everything was out of the room, and that's why the score ended up being a little bit more lopsided. But they still taking shots down the field and stuff. But it don't concern me as much. Kansas doesn't either. The QB run game does concern me, but I feel like all of this T State we just got from Arizona State, I don't think they make that mistake against Kansas. You know what I'm saying? I think they find a way to short that back up.
I would hope that we learned our lesson from last season, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Daniels was phenomenal against us. That seems to always be his best game of the season. You're right, Brent. That's the game that makes me nervous is his athleticism at quarterback. Now,
yeah,
the TCU quarterback has me nervous too because he can throw the ball quite well.
yeah.
All right.
That's
So I have a solution. Would you like to
Okay.
see what it is?
what you got there.
All right. It's sorry, because I had to log out and log back in. You guys knew that I had some situation here. So here's my solution. I think we pull these out for the game against Kansas. These old school Cyclones. I ripped this off of Twitter, is it Cyclone Uniform Tracker? They put these
Mm.
together every week. I love this combination, and I think Chris Shipley has looked at this several times and would like it as well. I think this would be a great uniform combination for our last home game. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Brent, you sort of have that jersey.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, pretty much. The one that you got looks a lot better than mine. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. It's senior night too, right? So there'll be a lot of emotion behind that one. So it should be a good combo to go out on. I rock it.
Yeah,
Marcus,
I like that. I like that combo as well. Socks look a little plain, but
Yeah, that's the only thing I was throwing
other than
down.
that, everything looks good. I mean, I like the helmet. You know, the way that splash it off those shorts, pants, whatever you call them, and I mean, depending on how the weather's going to be, it's going to be really dirty out there. But you know, that's pretty much the color of the red that I like in the gold. So we don't know if that's what they're doing or not, though, right?
we don't know. They just on Twitter, I think they do a really nice job at looking at different combinations and making recommendations, and they'll tweet at Jamie Pollard saying, "Hey, what about this one? What about that one?" So
Who
we shall
decides
see.
that?
I assume it's the captains that pick the uniform combinations, but that's just speculation on my part. Mark Brent,
Yeah,
you were there. What happened when you were playing? Who picked those combinations?
See,
Although
we didn't have
you didn't have that
good
many
choices.
choices.
Yeah, we had that many choices. Shit.
right.
It was pretty easy. Hey, what we wearing? We were all red. Okay, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we want to wear the white one. Cool. That's it. It was a red jersey or a white jersey. That was it. Shit, change the pants color. That's it.
And
That was Gator choice.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're wearing
and one
shorts now.
helmet. We didn't have 4 different helmets. We had helmets. So that's whatever that was.
Uh,
And before we forget, next week's show, remember, we're going on Saturday with a special podcast edition. So this will replace the Sunday show. The 1858 Club is hosting a game watch for the TCU Iowa State game. It's going to be held at Game Day, which is out at Merle Hay Mall. And so I think the game kicks off at 2:30. I imagine we'll go on 1:30, 1:45 or so. Have a show. But Game Day is a restaurant, bar. They also have different arcade games and that type of thing. So it should be a ton of fun. They've got a lot of television sets as well. So you can stick around, watch the show, be a part of the live podcast, then then watch the game as the Cyclones beat TCU down in
Definitely need
Texas.
that.
And I'm sure that Chris will put out some more social media information on that. But Saturday, just a quick reminder on that, we'll be going on live Saturday rather than on Sunday. All right, men's basketball game one is tomorrow. They play Fairleigh Dickinson. Probably not a ton to talk about leading up to that, but I think we're all excited. Marcus, any thoughts on the upcoming season?
um,
32 and 0?
I really put my real input into it once I see how the season has begun. You know, see
Oh,
how we're doing before conference play and things like that, because we know it gets ugly in the Big 12. So I don't
Oof.
want.
Yeah.
I wish 32 and 0. I want them to break all records. That's what I want.
you do know that Brent took the 12 and 0 football team, and now you're backing down, and you're not going to choose undefeated for the men's basketball team. What's up?
Well, see, you see where that got us. Can't do
Whoa, what is this, UCLA? What,
Yeah,
this ain't these ain't those times no more.
I know. Uh, Also tipping off tomorrow at a 11 o'clock special, though. So apparently a bunch of kids are off from school. So they're going to pack Hilton Coliseum with all these elementary kids. I remember when they did it last year, watching the news reports, because I totally forgot about the game. And I'm not able to make it up with work commitments. But just hearing all the little kids squealing and yelling during the highlights on the news was a lot of fun to watch. So the women play tomorrow night. I did catch their exit, or excuse me, tomorrow after morning at 11 against St. Thomas, which is a small school up in Minnesota. They played them last year as well. I caught the women's exhibition game on Tuesday night against UW Oshkosh. And, it's hard to get anything. We talked a little bit about the men's exhibition games. It's just different. The rotations are different. He's trying different things. But I can tell you, I am absolutely all in on the Jada Williams hype train. She is so much fun to watch. I ended up, she's just, she has a certain intensity level about her on the offensive side, on the defensive side. She's very athletic. She's going to be a lot of fun to watch. She'll grab a rebound. Her eyes are up. She's looking at the player ahead of her. Marcus, you would love to have her as your point guard. She's going to be a lot of fun to watch at Hilton Coliseum this season.
Yeah, it sounds like she's a lot different than Michael Nurse. A little bit kind of like a Jamal Tinsley here, if you would.
I think there are a lot of similarities there. Absolutely.
Mike Nurse's eyes was looking at something in the orange cylinder, and Mel was looking ahead to players. But it's going to be exciting to see, what these ladies do to share. We always back them and proud of the work that Coach Finn and the rest of the coaching staff does year in and year out.
Well, don't get me wrong. She's going to take the ball to the rack as well. I mean, we saw some of that on Tuesday night as well, but a lot of talent there. Really the top 8, 9 girls are really good. And they brought in, there's a very talented freshman that's in. They've got some, they've got Lisa Williams is back to back up Audie Crooks on the post. Boy, the women, between the men and the women, you're going to get your money's worth if you hang out at Hilton Coliseum this winter for sure. So again, they play Monday and they also play Wednesday night at 6:30 against Southern. So you get 2 games this week. So try to catch the women and the men. Speaking of basketball, though, I want to take our break and then come back on the other side. Last week, we didn't get a chance to talk about it because I think I took a note on it and then forgot. But there was some interesting information that came out of the NBA last week involving gambling. And in light of some of the situation that we faced in Ames and the football team, thought we should have some discussion about what had occurred with the NBA and the gambling arrests that were made. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side and we'll talk a little bit of NBA action.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
Gentlemen, let's be honest. Finding the perfect gift for your wife or girlfriend isn't always easy. You want something thoughtful, stylish, and unique. And that's exactly what you'll find at Styled by JJ Boutique. Julia Bradshaw and her team strive to be your go-to boutique for casual, boho, and chic clothing and accessories, helping women elevate their style one piece at a time. Located right here in Johnston, Iowa, Styled by JJ brings trendy, high-quality fashion that boosts confidence without breaking the bank. So, if you're looking for a gift that says, I get you, instead of I tried, head to Styled by JJ Boutique. Because nothing makes her smile like feeling beautiful. Styled by JJ Boutique, where style meets confidence. Visit our Johnston location or shop online at styledbyjjboutique.com.
Whether you're fueling up for a big game day bash,
tailgating this weekend.
Yeah, what can I get
Big
you?
one. Give me a dozen jalapeno sausages and 6 each of the sausage and bacon.
Sweet. All right, we'll get your order right up. Or just trying to survive last night's party.
Bro.
What's up? Can I get you?
What do you got?
What do we don't got, man? We got big plate, sausage, bacon, egg, and cheese. We got the sausage. The jalapeno sausage is good.
One of everything, man. Give me one of everything.
It doesn't matter what kind of hungry you are, party hungry, hangover hungry, or just regular old hungry, Coach's Kolaches is ready to save the day, one delicious bite at a time. No one does it better than Coach. At Coach's Kolaches, it's all about the craft. Every kolache starts fresh, rolled by hand, packed with flavor, and stamped with a little extra love from Coach himself. No shortcuts, no substitutes, just real deal game-winning goodness. And if you're feeling a little sweet, we've got you covered there too, with hot, fresh cinnamon rolls and juicy made-from-scratch fruit kolaches that'll have you coming back for seconds and thirds. Swing by and taste the tradition at Coach's Kolaches, right off Hickman and 100th Street at 2700 100th Street in Urbandale, or call ahead at 515-802-6200. Whatever the game plan, start it with Coach's Kolaches.
All right, we're back to In the Side of the Storm. And Brent, that was quite the acting job in your commercial there. Congratulations.
I do what I can, man. Appreciate that.
All right, so we had talked a little bit about this NBA gambling, and there are actually two situations that are going on, right? There's an investigation involving Terry Rozier with the Miami Heat, who was basically arrested for insider information and providing information for gamblers. And then there's Chauncey Billups, who spent a number of years in the NBA. He's now a head coach that somehow involves the mafia, and in which they were using Chauncey Billups to bring in other gamblers to participate in these gaming tables. The gaming tables had special X-ray technology involved with them, and so you could basically read the cards in order to cheat the gamblers. And so we're talking tens of millions of dollars that were involved in these. I wrote this down, but Marcus, what the fuck? I mean, how does this happen?
What the fuck?
Well, it's two different things. One with Chauncey, the fact of it being illegal card games. You know, you play card games all the time. You gamble on the plane while you flying. I don't know if it has something to do with, guys not paying taxes or whatever the case may be, but that is what it is. The illegal gambling tables with the X-ray vision, that's some new. I don't.
Yeah.
I really. I mean, we dealing with the FBI, and it's just a system that we're dealing with now. Them saying tens of millions of dollars sounds like a stretch to me, because eventually you have to be an idiot to sit up there and continue to lose that amount of money. I can see it going into the high hundreds of thousands or maybe a couple of millions, but tens of millions, that sounds like a stretch. Terry Rozier, he'll never play another game in the NBA ever again. His career is definitely done. Damon Jones is one of the other who had been assistant coach for a lot of different teams since he retired. He was doing some personal things with LeBron, I think, trying to hang around, trying to get on the Lakers coaching staff or whatever, but he never coached in the NBA a day again in his life either. Once all of this comes down and if you're proven guilty. I think Chauncey has the better, path to possibly coming back if he didn't bet on any of the games or any aspects like that. It's just like, getting arrested for whatever the case may be. He could lose his job. I can foresee him losing his job, but I don't foresee him being banned from the NBA forever. But the other two will never play or coach in the NBA again.
But is Chauncey guilty by association?
I really don't. I can't really say if he's guilty or not, because at any rate, he could have been doing what they said he was doing. Bringing in the big fish or the people with the money. His notoriety, who he is, the number of people that he know. Hey, come play some games and yada yada yada, and we sit down and then X, Y, and Z takes place. So you can't really say if he's guilty by association. Now, the whole thing with the whole mafia thing and the mob and all that different stuff, I mean, that is what it is. I mean, we're talking about professional athletes, And to be quite frank, Jay-Z said in one of his lines, people get upset when you making money like athletes. Don't nobody make money like athletes. I mean, if you could be a doctor, you could be Wall Street, whatever the case may be. You may have one or two individuals, but Leo Messi and Ronaldo and those guys, and over this playing soccer, these guys make, like, I've seen guys, making $500 million, and a soccer team or a football team have to pay a team $250 million to get them off their club to come play with us. The money
Yep.
is astronomical. So it gets to the point to where it's so much money for athletes. It's not a situation in terms of trying to win money. It has to do with some kind of a camaraderie, being cool type thing, or being around amongst the who's who. And it's not really about money, the money aspect of it all. Because if Terry Rozier is making 26 million a year. His career earnings, they say, it was every bit of 120 million plus. So that alone, after 50% of taxes, he should be sitting on at least 30 or to $50 million liquid. So it can't be the money aspect of it all. It has to be, a gambling issue. I don't know if you guys saw the inside the NBA where when Charles and Kenny was kind of going back and forth. I get what Charles was saying, and I kind of get I get what Kenny was saying too. I'm more so leaning on the fact of what Kenny was saying. Charles was just pissed that they're doing things against the NBA, and I get that side of it all, but I'm more so like I attach to what Kenny was saying, because it has to be something about just winning, it just getting a win. We bet shooting 3-point shots or off the glass or whatever. 10,000 here, 5,000 there. That's chump change to guys that's making 10, 15, $20 million a year. So it's not necessarily the money aspect of it all. Winning 200 grand. I mean, guys getting more than 200 grand off of the licensing deal that you get every year. So that's nothing. The per diem equals over 150, 200 grand. It's not the money side of it all. It's a gambling issue that, people try to take advantage of. And unfortunately, they did some bonehead mistakes.
Does the NBA have a gambling problem?
I would say the NBA I wouldn't say the NBA have a gambling problem. I wouldn't say any sport has a gambling problem. I would say individuals have the problem. Um, most people, most people who really, really gamble down deep and hard, they either have an addiction or they're trying to come up in a situation in life financially, you know, that type of situation. It can't be a financial aspect of it again, because, everyone is making money, even if the, league minimum guys is making 500 grand a year or whatever the case may be, of the two-way players. That's still $500,000. So it can't be that side. I think it's more so, you know, individuals. We've joked about it. I don't know how to play chess. I don't know how to play poker. It was some years that I was in the NBA before I even learned how to shoot dice, just sitting around watching guys do it. I've seen guys in the front of the plane with the coaches. They talk about the game Boo Ray and all. MJ talks about Boo Ray all the time. I have no idea how many cards you deal out for Boo Ray. None of that, because I never wanted to be accused of being a cheater. Or listen, I'm 12, 13, going on 13 years in Las Vegas. I know how to put money in a slot machine and push the button and wait for it to stop. All that other stuff that's going on, I don't know how to play roulette. I don't know where to put chips at. None of that. I don't really even know how to play blackjack. I know it's 21, but it's more of, a strategy within that. So I stay in my lane. If this machine is going to give me a payout of $1,500 for the slot machine, it's going to take my $200, one or the other is going to happen, and I'm going to hit the door. Simple as that.
Brent, I know you love basketball. Don't you think that it's so much easier to have a gambling issue in a sport for basketball than in football? Or do you think that it's more of a problem in football than in basketball?
I think it's just, the reality is, like, I forgot who used to tell me, but like rich people doing rich people shit, right? Like it's some of the guys just like when you get to making a lot of money, you just want to make it another way. So you're like, and then the competitive nature. I'm thinking about the card games and the other games and stuff that they make the guys bet on. It just becomes more of a competition to, shit, I don't care if I lose 200, 300,000 a night, 400,000, but clearly that would kill somebody. Like I would take somebody's livelihood, but like Marcus said, like when guys are used to making like their paychecks getting paid weekly, they're getting paid $4 and $5 million a week. People don't see that. Professional players get paid throughout the season. That's it. I don't know if that's the same for NBA. I'm assuming
twice a month,
right, Mark?
Twice a month.
Then once the season's over, that's it, right? You're on your own.
It goes throughout the year. 12 months.
So NFL is just the time the season is going, which is 18 weeks now, whatever it is. So you're getting your salary tucked out over 18 weeks. They're just like, oh shit, I ain't tripping. If I lose this 300,000, I get it back next week. Like it's no big deal for a lot of those guys. That's why they do it. It's just competitive. So, I mean, it's a lot of it that happens in professional sports, period, just amongst the guys. And then, other guys, when it comes to point shaving and all the other stuff, like that's just, that I'll never understand, because seeing some of those clips of Rozier and some of the stuff they were saying he was doing, it's like, well, damn, you didn't help yourself out. Like with none of these performances on these days. So that's a little different piece of it, but guys, just that competitive nature kicks in. I got a lot of money, you got a lot of money, but I want to take your money. Just how that shit goes. Shooting dice on the plane, like that's just it. It's just another day for a lot of the professional guys.
How do you clean it up? How do you get it out of the sport so it's not a problem like it is today? And we're not talking about the situation in Ames with college kids that's betting online. Granted, I don't think you should bet on your own sport, but doggone it, we got kids that had to be transferred out, had to quit football, go elsewhere, that were banished for playing on an app. And you've got these guys that are making millions of dollars a year that are manipulating scores, manipulating games I think in Terry Rozier's side. Then you got guys like, and I will be curious as to how this comes out when it comes to Chauncey Billups, because like what did he know with regards to pulling people in for these high valued card games to participate in? It just feels slimy to have someone do that and have the mafia be involved. We're not talking about you're in the middle of a road trip, you're on the back of a plane gambling. We're not talking about that. This goes far beyond that. How do you get rid of this out of the sport entirely?
Well, I mean, the scariness of the mafia and all, like, I mean, it's 2025 or 2020 or 2015, whatever the case may be. Like, it's not that hard. You don't have to go into one of the boroughs to, meet with somebody from, the mafia. Now they have children and people who know people, and they come to games and all that situation. So the connection can happen extremely easy. Having dinner somewhere, whatever the case may be. So it's not, to me, the aspect of the mafia being involved. It could be the capos not even around. The capos could probably not even know what's going on. It could be somebody Chauncey's age. We talk about the guys is Bumpy Johnson age. Those are the capos of the boroughs from years and years and years back. And I know that because of the King of Brooklyn that just came on Netflix and all that different stuff. But now we're dealing with the offsprings and the children and the grandchildren, and you may not even be involved in. But again, when you deal with the bigger of the fish, they're going to talk about, what's the bigger picture of who's who when you're trying to connect the dots. Me personally, I feel like if you're going, I feel like betting should be allowed if you're going to prove that you bet for your team to win. Now you got to go out there and play as hard as hell. I mean, if you put your money up that you're going to score 15 points, that's going to be, better for the team that you score 15 points. If you're going to bet that I'm going to bet 100 grand that we're going to win this game, and you mess around and lose that game, you're not going out there trying to lose the game. You're going out there to play harder. I think some of the situation with Pete Rose was the fact that all the games that he bet on, he was betting that they won. Well, at the end of the day, allegedly,
yeah,
right. But if you can prove now that, okay, these are my slips, this is what I bet, get that, verified or whatever. I didn't say, my under is going to be, I play 25 minutes and then I go out here and act like my ankle hurt. I start grabbing my ankle at the 9-minute mark and then I sit out the rest of the game. So, it's a huge question mark about how to get to that point. But I don't think is it really ever going to stop? Like Terry Rozier has always been a solid player, a really, really good, mid to, being a star type player, whatever. He was on some ball clubs where it was pretty much him, and he had some great years, which, afforded him the right to have high salaries and all of that. He could have went out there and played for a long time, a lot of minutes, and just missed shots. The way you coming off the screen, not being strong with it, they hit your arm, turn the ball over. That type situation. But he had just scored, and then he went down and started grabbing his ankle. And I'm like, what's the deal with that? When did you twist your ankle? So now, the big brother in the sky, the cameras, we all seeing what's going on, and can't nobody figure out when you would have, now you got to go and, lie to the doctors and lie to the training staff, and, they're going to send you to get an MRI when there's nothing wrong with you. Now you got to get it back out on the floor. But if you want, they say after that game, the winnings they took to his house and they counted. So it's like, come on now, you're doing a little bit too much for whatever reasoning when you're making $26 million a year.
How do we fix it? How do we get rid of it?
Hey, that's above my pay grade. I'm not the commissioner. If I was the commissioner, I would or the deputy. I would have better ideas and stuff like that for him. But I think you don't. I think the biggest thing is just going to always be at this point, is to ban guys for life.
Brent, don't you think we have to come down with the hammer on these guys? I mean, at the very least, Rozier. I think we've got to learn more about Chauncey Billups, but maybe that's just because I'm a Chauncey Billups fan, and I recognize that I don't want him to be guilty. I want him to be totally ignorant that all he was doing is bringing in friends, people that he knew, former players, whatever, to participate in these card games, but that he had no knowledge what was going on behind the scenes. I want to believe that.
Right.
But don't you have to bring home the hammer?
I mean, not so much in Chauncey's case. I mean, I just think that's, you want money guys. Money guys are going to sit at the table. Not everybody can afford that. So I think that's different. But guys that bet against their team to win, like that type of stuff, I mean, yeah, I think he deserves the worst punishment, whatever comes with that. But yeah, that other stuff, man, it's just, like I said, rich people doing rich people shit. There's so much gambling that goes on. There's so many things that you can gamble with or on or whatever, right? But the problem is it's an issue when, the government hears about it or something like that, because now they're not able to touch that money. That's the only issue. But
that's the issue.
People make bets all day long, but it's the government's like, well, we want ours. So what's that about?
There's probably bets on how many times we flub up tonight.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it is.
It's the mafia that's involved in this. This is what's so crazy about it, that we've got professional athletes screwing around with the mafia.
This is what I will probably equate that to being. Marcus Pfizer played for the Chicago Bulls. So did Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. We played for the same organization, but our teams weren't the same. I can guarantee you the mafia of the La Costa Nostra is probably Pippen, MJ, and them types of team. And my team was probably what Chauncey and the rest of those guys are doing. Probably have nothing to do with each other, but they're involved because of the history and all of that.
Well, and
Because
there
you
were all
got,
these whispers that Michael
but
took
you
that
gotta,
year off to play baseball because there was a ban. He was banned by the NBA for a year
but
because
see,
of his ties.
but you know
Remember?
what's tied into that as a rumor. People say that his father was murdered behind.
Yeah.
That was back in the day when the mob and the mafia was the mob and the mafia. We're talking about losing tens of millions of dollars of players who they know got the money and you not paying. I think family members would have been coming up missing. People would have been coming up missing. Murders would have been happening. I just feel like it's not the crux of the mafia as people are making it out to be.
Well, we'll find out because if we're not here next week, you'll know something happened. All right. Do you think, guys, are we expecting more to come out of this regarding these two? And remember, we're really talking about two different situations here, right?
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
expecting any more to come out of this?
I'm expecting a lot more to come out of it. I have some personal friends that has been dealing with some situations deeper than this. Like I've been knowing a lot of this since about 2020, and like I shared with you
Really?
guys, on the occasion where one of my friends, and he's not all over social media with it. Moses Malone Jr., who is Moses Malone Senior's son. Dealing with some situations from Houston, from Philly, him living in Philly, his dad played in Philly, his dad played in Houston. And there's a lot more that's going to come out behind this that, you can't really say, but on the surface of what you see in things and what people are saying, the ball is rolling about some high level NBA superstars that it's going to get tough for
Well, we're not expecting you to name any names, and we'll let that come out. Some things like this usually take a lot of time.
them.
There's a process, there's court, there's investigations, there's people that need to talk, and then it's going to take a while to come out. So
Yeah.
I thought this would be
And Moses
worthwhile
and
discussion.
And Moses Jr. is very thorough, real good guy. We've known each other since we were 16, 17 years old, like in, AAU camps and Nike All-American camps, and everything like that. He actually went to Kansas out of high school and he played at Houston as well. So we've known each other for a long time. We're some old men now, but, he is very, very thorough, about his business and the things, how he take care of stuff. And if you want to look up some of the stuff, just hit any one of his social media accounts, Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and you will see some of the things that will make your head spin.
Well, and Denny's saying he's going to make an offer we can't resist. So we'll see about that.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
Make sure a couple of zeros on there.
That's it. We're gonna need a lot more than a couple.
All right,
Couple,
guys.
couple
So
commas. My bad. Commas.
That's
yeah,
it.
Commas.
lots of comments, lots of zeros. All right, so we've hit November 1st. Are you guys going to grow your mow for Movember? You guys kind of already got it going though. But you got to trim around here.
No,
So you
I
got
don't do. I don't
just
do.
the
I
admit.
do. I do no shave. I don't do Movember.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
do just the mustache.
I'm
you don't
I'm
do the
no
mustache.
shade November guy. I've never done that. I probably won't.
You're just not a shaved person. I mean, you've always got that nice little beard going, and
That's it. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep it simple, man.
well, and for those that participate, again, this is Movember, so it's your chance to promote men's. It's really about men's health, and all of us should be out there talking about it with our friends and our family. That men's prostate cancers and just cancer overall. We need to be aware of it. Something we need to take care of. Make sure you're getting your physicals taken care of, making sure you're doing um, some self checks, or better yet, have someone check it out for you. But again, as November kicks off, I just wanted to kind of bring that to everyone's table as a discussion point and topic to make sure that we have a lot of guys that listen into this show and watch the podcast. So let's make sure we're taking care of ourselves so we can take care of our families and those that love us. So. Again, a reminder, next week's show is on the road. We're going to be out at for the pregame show for the Iowa State TCU game at Game Day at Merle Hay Mall. please consider coming out and joining us. Come in a little bit early, order some food, order some drinks, bring your family. There's a gaming system. There's arcade games to play. I think there's some pool tables that are out there as well. I believe a bowling alley of some type. I'm not sure if it's duck bowling or real bowling. We'll find out when we get out there. So hope that you're able to join us and help us to cheer on the Cyclones. Marcus, you'll join us remotely, correct? And Brent, you'll be there live?
I'll be there live, man.
All right, that sounds good. Make sure you stop into Coach's Kolaches on your way, maybe grab a little breakfast, and then join us up at game day for the game. And being indoors will be a lot better than being outdoors and tailgating in the rain. So it's been a privilege.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for everyone for joining us. Again, remember our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible. Revelton Distilling Company and Style by JJ Boutique. And of course, our studio sponsor, Andrew Downs and AKC Marketing. Thank you for everyone for joining us. We'll see you next time. Go Cyclones.
There's a cyclone brewing on the outskirts tonight. Jack Tribe shakes when the team takes flight. Hilton's rocking, hear the magic call. We rise together, we'll never fall. There's a cyclone brewing on the outskirts tonight. Jack Tribe shakes when the team takes flight. Hilton's rocking, hear the magic call. We rise together, we'll never fall. CYCLONES, Cyclone Nation, we're the best.